Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Terry Hansen here, back with you once again on Traveling with Terry as I go from my home to the office each and every single morning to spend some time with you today. On this beautiful Thursday, let's spend a little time talking about how to make ethical decisions in business. So this last weekend, I had a good time with my dad and my nephew. We went for a hike up in kind of in the Swan Valley area, Palisades area of Idaho, and it was a 14-mile hike. We hiked 7 miles into a kind of a upper mountain lake called Upper Palisades Lake, and then we camped the night, and then we hiked the 7 miles back out the next day. So 14 miles round trip. And it's always funny when you go on kind of long hikes with family members or friends, you talk about, you've got hours and hours and hours of time just to talk about pretty much anything under the sun. And there really is no topic that you don't explore from the lowest levels to the highest heights, from A to Z. And it's always interesting how conversations turn strangely philosophical and theoretical, and you start having conversations about just the morality of life and right versus wrong, good versus evil, all of these kinds of things. And one of the things that my nephew brought up was just in terms of like ethics and morality and how to make good decisions and this sort of thing was the trolley problem. And you've probably heard various versions of this, but I'll paraphrase it for you and have this kind of set the tone or set the frame for our conversation this morning about making ethical business decisions. So the trolley conundrum or the trolley problem goes a little something like this. Pretend for a moment that you are an operator of a trolley and you are in the midst of a downtown area, and somehow, some way, you're at high speed on this trolley, and for some reason there's a malfunction, and there's no brakes, and so this trolley is careening, headed straight for the marketplace. And as you, the driver of this trolley, as you look ahead, you see maybe your child or your dad or an immediate family member who you love and care about a great deal. So option number one is you let the trolley go straight ahead and run over the top of your child or your loved one. Or option B is you turn the trolley out of the path of your loved one and drive it into a crowd of complete strangers. So which one is more ethical? To drive the trolley, the runaway trolley, into a crowd of complete strangers, saving your child or your dad or something like that? Or is it more ethical to sacrifice the one and drive the trolley over the top of your loved one, your dad, your child, and save this crowd of complete strangers? Well, as he posed this is one of these age-old ethical dilemmas that people debate for hours and hours and hours and ruminate on what the best way to handle it is, etc. And usually at the end of the conversation, everybody kind of settles on there really is no good answer. There's no right way to go about it. But it's kind of an interesting exercise to explore your own value system, your own ethics, your own morality, and that's really all it is. It's just simply an exercise to get you to explore your own personal right versus wrong, your own value system, and what that means to you. So it's not about actually solving the situation. It's more of an exercise to try to get you to think that direction. But on this long hike, as we talked about this sort of trolley problem, I was reminded of a class that I've taken over the last 2 years as part of my master's degree. And I mentioned in one of my Traveling with Terry episodes that I would be sharing some frameworks that I've learned over the last 2.5 years to help you in your business. That cost me $45,000 worth of student loans and fees to get my master's degree that I want to share with you for free. But one of those frameworks is a five model, or a five something. There's five of them. 5 guidelines for ethical decision making. And these don't come from me. These come from an institute called the Marcella Institute for Ethics. And they put together 5 really powerful frameworks that that you and I can use in business for decision making, to analyze and look at whatever decision we want to make. Does it meet some criteria? Excuse me, I've got the hiccups all of a sudden. Anyway, so I'll share with you these 5 and see what you think. And see, now it's not that these 5 individually by themselves are the end-all be-all. And you can't really make business decisions using just one of these, because chances are your decision may also conflict with the 4 other principles. So you kind of want to use these as a scaffold, as kind of a checklist. Go through and see how many you can get right of these. But the first ethical decision-making framework is utility, or the utilitarian. And it's kind of a cost-benefit analysis. So you think about a situation you're in, you think about a choice, some options and choices that you have, and you pick one of the choices that you feel like is the best. Now that you've made a choice and you've kind of made a decision, now you analyze that decision based on this utilitarian philosophy, which is you count up the benefits, all the good things that'll come from choosing that option, and then you subtract all the costs and all the liabilities and all the negative consequences that will come, and you kind of just do this cost-benefit analysis. You weigh the pros and cons, and whichever alternative or choice has the highest benefit with the least amount of cost, that is, from a utility perspective, that's the one that you would choose. So that's the utilitarian ethical decision-making framework. The second ethical decision-making framework is based on the common good. Does the choice, or does the option that you choose, does that work to benefit the greater good of humanity? We all recognize that we all share one planet, that we all share the same resources, and that we want to be good stewards of the resources that we've been put in charge of. And we all, since we're all part of the same community, is our choice ruining or disrupting the common good, the common resources that we all utilize? Or is it serving and benefiting the common good? So that's the second kind of ethical decision-making framework. The third has to do with our rights. And when we talk about our rights, it's our privileges, our God-given privileges. Think of the Constitution. We have unalienable rights that cannot be separated from us, that we just get those. Does any of the decisions that we are making violate the natural God-given rights that we have been given as humans to live our lives, etc.? So the rights ethical framework is another kind of framework to think about. The fourth framework to think about is when you're making decisions to evaluate whether or not it's going to be a good choice or not, is the justice and fairness ethical framework. And that simply means is everybody being treated fairly, equally, and justly according to what they merit and what they are due? So are people being treated justly and fairly according to what they have earned and what they are due? So that's the fourth. The fifth and final, and I need a minute just to think about it. Oh, it's the virtue framework. The virtue framework of ethical decision making is based on not necessarily what you should do or how you should act or what choices or decisions you should make, but instead it has everything to do with what kind of person you ought to be, what kind of qualities and characteristics, what kind of attributes and attitudes and mindsets should you adopt. So it has more to do with your character, what kind of person you should be. If you're an honest person, if you have integrity, if you have compassion, if you're that kind of person, then the decisions that you will make will naturally be honest. they'll be full of integrity, they will be compassionate, that sort of thing. So the fifth and final ethical decision-making framework is based on virtue of character. So think for a minute about a situation that you are in. Think about some options and alternatives that you have to solve that situation that you are in. Pick one option that you feel like is the best, and then analyze it and think about it according to those 5 ethical decision-making frameworks: utility, cost-benefit analysis, rights, treating people justly and fairly, a virtuous character, and the common good. And if you can get through the majority of those 5 ethical frameworks and feel like your decision or your choice holds up, then you've probably made a quote-unquote ethical business decision. So anyway, I had a good experience hiking this last weekend, and the Trolley Problem was really kind of intriguing exercise to go through. And again, it made me think about this business ethics class that I've been in my master's degree, and these 5 principles, or these 5 ethical decision-making principles that we can use to analyze whether or not we are truly being wise and smart in the decisions that we are making in our business. So anyway, I hope that helps you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. I've arrived here at the office. It's time to go get to work and do some good in the world today. So hope you guys have a marvelous day. Keep up the good work, and I can't wait to be back with you once again on Traveling with Terry. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Did you know every company out there has what we call digital marketing blind spots? These are simple, hidden opportunities for growing and improving your marketing that most of the time people miss. Go to www.arcanemarketing.com and take advantage of our Rise and Ignite digital marketing analysis. It's 100% free to get fresh new insights and ideas to make what you're already doing that much better in 2021.